I've listened to a few of your interviews and the videos on your YouTube channel as well. And a lot of the focus of what you talk about is the high value man.
hmm
Explain what that means.
Well, first off, high value man is not my concept. High value man has been with us forever. Um, and what I did with high value man is I just put some parameters around it because that term had been floating around for years. I looked across, you know, this country, that country, this political system, that political system, this system of government. And I looked and said, what are the men who separate themselves from other guys? What do they have in common? And they have several things in common. Now, this is irrespective of religion, morality, anything else like this, just basic stuff. High value men starts with money. Now, there are a lot of people who don't like that concept, but I didn't come up with the whole notion of a six-figure guy. This has been with us since 1985, when six figures first came into the mid 80s, I'll say that, when it first came into popular media, popular culture. And then making that like $10,000 a month is a benchmark. And then saying making that amount of money for 3 to 5 years. Anybody can have a good year or two, but stringing it together implies some sort of consistency. Then after that, other high value men recognize you as a peer or a possible peer, having a life that's kind of what I call LinkedIn level visible, meaning saying you're the VP of mergers and acquisitions at Goldman Sachs is different than saying I'm an entrepreneur. We know what one of those things means at a glance. Having a network of high value men and others, and being useful to others and the group. So those are 6 basic principles around which I've had a conversation. Now, of course, your mileage may vary. There may be people who think that you need to have other things in addition to those things. But it just kind of gave a framework to start a conversation. And why that became such a big issue is because of the notion that women tend to consolidate on the highest value man available, a term called hypergamy. So I'm just talking about things that have always been out there, just putting a kind of a context to it for the beginning of a conversation between men and women, because that ain't really happening these days.
Okay. And I think a lot of your conversations deal with women who feel like they want high value men or they feel like they deserve a high value man.
Mm-hmm.
And during the course of the conversation, I feel like you let them know that they don't have whatever it takes that high value men are interested in. Is that fair?
Well, what I always ask is, what do you want? What do you want? And then what do the kind of men you want? And are you qualified to get it right now? Or are you willing to do what it takes? See, when people can want what they want. I want, a phantom. But when you go, either you have the money to afford it or not. It doesn't change the desire that you want it. You can put it up on your wall or whatever. And I don't judge what people say they want. And that seems to be the part of the conversations that turn contentious, because like it or not, men get told every day where they rank. They get rejected all the time. Men know what they quote unquote qualify for. But women for the last 40 years have been told you can have it all of you, whenever you want, no matter how you are. And they've been given an unrealistic expectation of their actual sexual marketplace value, their actual ability to get it. But then we always talk about, let's look in your life and see where in your life have you been able to attract or deal with these kind of men on a long-term basis. And that's where the conversations tend to go. I think it's funny that when I was talking to men for the previous years about these similar concepts, it wasn't shocking. But it was when I started talking to women about the very things they say they want, then all of a sudden it became this media firestorm.